Okay, guys, and joining us right now, he's in Toronto, getting ready. The season starts Friday night against the Toronto Blue Jays. It's Texas Rangers manager Chris Woodward. Chris, hey, man, thanks so much for stopping and joining us real quick for the second time now. This is your second time on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Enjoy it.
You're the second timer. Justin Foscue beat you to the punch, so
I got beat by Foscue. All right, well, we got to make it happen again then.
You can be the third timer. How about that? So how's Toronto? Cold?
Yeah, it's not Arizona. We got off the plane last night. We knew it though. We knew it was going to be like in the 40s or 50s, and we're kind of expecting that. But it was definitely a little bit of a weather shock when we got off the plane.
How much does Toronto still mean to you?
It means a lot. Obviously, it's the team that gave me my first opportunity as a professional player, and I played 12 years in the organization. But I think most importantly is like I started my family here, met my wife. We had my daughter was born here. We basically started the journey together here, so it'll always have a special place in my heart for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know if your daughter was a Canadian or a Floridian, so I couldn't pin it down.
Yeah, she's actually dual. So she was born, she's born abroad, I guess. So she's got dual.
Okay, is your wife Canadian?
Yeah, well, she actually got her American passport, so she's officially American. But she was born in Canada. She grew up here in Toronto.
You married her for the green card, right? Just to get her green card.
Hey, so all right, so you guys are off today, workout tomorrow, season opener Friday. And I asked you about this yesterday in Arizona, but you are very excited.
Yeah, to put it mildly. I think we had a good camp. Obviously we made some really good changes on the roster. We added some really, really good talent, but I think most importantly, just the guys that we brought in. It's a more functional team. It's a more talented team, but at the same time, like internally, that locker room is in a short amount of time, have definitely bonded and gotten together. The way they communicate with one another, the way they talk the game, and the new staff members that we brought in fit right in and have gotten these guys to really buy in a short amount of time. So we still got a lot of work to do. Our expectations are to win this year, and we got to go out and do that. We have a good thing going, but we got to go out and prove that.
Yeah, a few observations to your point about the clubhouse. First of all, I'm incredibly impressed by Marcus Semien, just the way he carries himself and the presence about him, I guess. Also, I noticed yesterday, Cole Calhoun, who has been in the league, I think he has the most service time of your position players, went and sat down next to Joe McCarthy yesterday. And we don't know what's going to happen with Joe, but obviously a veteran guy talking to a young guy, talking through things. And then the third thing is Martin Perez and the Latin pitchers are really he's their guy. So I just the acquisitions that you were talking about are making a difference in the clubhouse.
Yeah, and it's I can give you a bunch of different examples. Obviously, Marcus has been phenomenal. I've heard so many stories prior to us signing him, and then obviously once we sign him, just in the communication that I've had with him, and then the communication I've heard from every part of our organization, he's gone above and beyond to be that leader that he talked about and kind of rally the troops and get to know guys, and it's been really, really impressive. I mean, this guy's a remarkable human being and obviously a really talented player to go with it. But yeah, you look at Cole. Cole's kind of like our Spitfire. He brings it every day. He loves it. He's he's all in on what we're trying to accomplish here, and he couldn't be happier to be a part of it. Those are things that he does every day. I mean, I know sitting down with Joe, not quite sure what's going to happen with Joe, and puts his arm around him and says, "Hey, man, like, I'm here for you." And those kind of conversations go on all day long. And you look at our Latin pitchers. I'm glad you mentioned Martin because he was here prior to me being here. I've talked to him over the last couple of years. When he was in Boston, I had a long conversation with him in the outfield, and it was he's always wanted to come back. And so to see where he is now, and he wants to take on that leadership role, he kind of wants to make sure these guys are in a good place on the pitching staff. Dennis Santana, as soon as we signed Abreu or traded for Abreu, they all kind of wrapped their arms around him. And Dennis is like, "I got you, Woody. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of this kid. I'll make sure he's in good hands." And Martin said the same thing. So it's a unique bunch. I love that we have a ton of diversity. We have guys from all over the world, but they all have the same common goal, and that's like to make us a champion. And those guys are phenomenal human beings.
All right, so everybody's 0-0. Everyone, hope spring is eternal, I guess. You guys are going to be better. How much better?
That's up to us. Honestly, I don't like to look at projections. I do. I do look at them just so I like to use that as a little bit of, hey, this is what they're expecting us to do. This is what they're expecting you to do. Guys blow out projections. They blow through those all the time in the game.
Right.
Look at the Giants last year. They weren't supposed to win 107 games. I'm not saying, I'm not going to be cliche and say, why not us? But I will say that to our guys and be like, well, why can't you outperform your projections individually?
Yeah.
Why can't we do that as a ball club? But it takes, there's a lot of dedication. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes into that. We can't just say it. I've been saying we're going to win ever since we signed, Marcus and Corey, but we got to go out and do it. We got to go out and live it and breathe it and believe in it. But there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. There's so many finer details that our players have bought into, but it's maintaining that throughout the 162 games and honestly building on that at each day that goes by is going to be what we need to do.
I'm going to write a story about your opening day starter, and I talked to him, John Gray. He's not what the book does not match the cover. You see the mohawk and the big guy, and he's out there on the mound. He's got a big presence, but he's into like gaming, and he and his wife went on an off-season RV trip. He's like just a super guy.
Yeah.
And he's made some adjustments, but he seems like the fit that you talk about in the clubhouse. But what did you see from him this spring, both on the mound and off of the field?
I've really enjoyed my time with him, and got a chance to sit with him a little bit when we signed him, just get to know him and his wife, and they're definitely unique. Like I love that. Like I said, there's a lot of diversity, and you see the mohawk, you see the this bravado, and then you get to know him, and he's a really, really good human being. And the thing I think I was most impressed with is just his respect for the organization, the game, and then just talking to him how much hunger he has and desire to improve, and how willing he is to listen and be open to different ideas. He meshed right away with our pitching coaches. I think that's honestly what sold him coming here. When they presented, their presentation to him, he was blown away, and he was like, "Man, I could really improve here. I can really get better. This would be a place that I can be myself. I can go out and perform. They're not going to. They have full faith in me. They're going to trust me." And I think that's where he's at home and at peace. So I'm excited to provide that for him. And I can't wait to see him honestly go out and dominate, because the stuff has always been there. I think just pitching in Colorado has always been really difficult, that altitude and going back and forth. And it's just, I know I've mentioned that many times, but it's not an easy thing to do for a pitcher. It's a tough place to pitch. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more consistent. And then obviously with some of these new shapes and the power stuff that he already had, hopefully he can put it all together to be a dominant force.
Yeah, he said that Brendan and Doug just moved his thumb a little bit on his slider, like half an inch. First of all, it's amazing that they can see that on a video that he needs to move his thumb.
Wow.
But second of all, and Tim Hires and Donnie Eckert probably are along this line too. It's amazing how coaching has changed. And,
oh my God.
Yeah, and you can speak to it as well. But it just seems like that the staff has evolved into like high tech, smart guys who just look at the game entirely differently, and then have the players that have bought in.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is like we hired some really, really talented people on our staff. They are elite at what they know and what they do. Like you said, Sags just moving the thumb from here to there. It's like he understands the resistance on the ball from the air and why it makes it move more and all that. And that's pretty scientific. But at the same time, it's how to deliver that to a player. I think that's where I think we set ourselves apart in our communication and our empathy and compassion for our players. None of our staff has an ego. They all just want what's best for the player. They're all really smart in their own departments, but we have a ton of collaboration. We communicate. Some great ideas come from outside of each department. And I think that that's what kind of separates us, because the players feel that. They feel that we're all in this for them. We're going to make them the best player that they can possibly be. And they buy in. They buy in. They want to be a part of that. Obviously, they want to make a lot of money and win a lot of games and win a championship. So that's the secret sauce kind of in today's game. There's a lot of smart people in the game today, but it's how do you communicate those ideas to the player and get them to buy into it?
Sure. Well, and that's coaching. That's like coaching 101, the communication aspect, and any sport. But you mentioned the talent and you mentioned the coaches. What the coaches were teaching this spring trickled down. You had guys in minor league who are now in the minor leagues who are exposed to them. It seems like it's going to be organization wide, and every good organization has tremendous depth. So it just seems like you guys are on the cusp of that. You have a lot of minor leaguers this year.
We do. We obviously improved a ton of talent, and unfortunately, that had a lot to do with us making trades and not being as good as we wanted to be the last couple of years, where we traded away some of our best players to get a ton of talent, and we have done that. And we drafted well. We already acquired a lot of really good players. You look at McCarthy, like that was an acquisition that fits who we are. But I think this offseason, the silver lining to the lockout was we poured, as a major league staff and an organization, poured a ton into our development. We moved people around and put people we felt in better spots. And we hired some really good coaches on the minor league side. And now player development represents how we do things at every level. And I think that alignment is going to catapult a lot of our younger players, and then obviously have them ready. So when they get to the big leagues, it's not a shock. It's not a surprise. It's basically what we do in the big leagues is being done all the way from A ball all the way up. So that's a unique opportunity for us. And we had the time because we couldn't talk to our major league players. We couldn't pour into our major league players. The lockout continuing into camp actually helped us in that regard. For 3 weeks, we had our basically entire major league staff with our minor league development, our player development coaches, staff, players. So we were around those guys and reinforcing messaging, and really truly making this a full organizational philosophy in every department. So that I'm actually really, really excited about to see how that plays out. That takes time, obviously, to develop players, but we're already seeing the benefits of it.
Well, and that makes your job easier. When they come up, they're stepping
all of our job, honestly. Yeah. It makes our staff, our hitting coaches don't have to explain to them how we go through things. Our pitching coaches and Bobby Wilson on the catching side doesn't have to explain how we game call and how we go through our stuff. They already know. They're already doing it where they are right now. And honestly, some of that stuff is starting in the A-ball levels. So we're going to see that in a few years, how that kind of moves up the ranks and how these guys adapt to the game planning model, to the movement and path, things that our coaches are talking to them about. It's going to be the same language all the way up.
Yeah. Who's gonna be in the major leagues this year? Who's gonna be in the minors? Who do you I mean,
put him on the spot.
I know you're Josh Smith, Davis Wenzel, Bubba Thompson, all impressed, but they're closer than maybe you guys thought.
Yeah, you know what? I listen. You just named off a few that I would have rattled off. Don't forget about Leody Taveras. I think he made some really good adjustments at the end of camp that I'm really watching every box score and checking in on notes and just to see how he's handling himself and doing down there. But there's some, obviously on the pitching side, a guy like Cole Winn comes to mind. Are these guys going to make it up? Are they going to be ready? We'll see. They have to perform. Clearly, the guys we sent down in Alexi, Otto, I'm excited about. We're going to need those guys, in the bullpen. The Daniel Robert, in spring training, saw him, dominate, and that slider's a real thing, throwing upper 90s. Chase Lee, some of these guys had really good camps for us, and they were impressive. So, the good thing is it's a battle of who does well and who's performing. I think in the past, and I know this kind of happened last year, where guys were in the big leagues with no real competition behind them. Guys in the big leagues feel it. They feel that they have to perform, and that's the way it should be. I mean, listen, all of our veteran guys, when we kept Greg Holland on our staff, the first thing he said is, "I'm going to earn my way, on this team and to stay on this team." Because there's no guarantees. And he was like, I don't, that's the way it should be in the big leagues. You should have to earn your right every day you're out there. And this is a guy with almost 10 years of service time saying that. So zero entitlement, everything earned. It's a great thing for us as an organization. And, obviously the competition is fierce, but everybody knows what's at stake. And, we got a championship to win.
Yeah, another name that came up this week, Ezekiel Duran. He's never played above high A, but man, he that homer off of Brandon Woodruff the other day kind of says something about him.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. Just the way this kid carries himself. He's obviously super talented. Getting a chance to see him on a daily basis, though, and just see how he kind of interacts with his teammates, how he carries himself, how he prepares. He's super talented. I don't think we gave him enough credit on the defensive side, just by what I see. Haven't seen enough game action to really, truly, make a remark on that. But from what I've seen in his training and his work, this kid's a good defender as well, a really, really good defender anywhere you put him. But the at-bats there's fearlessness there. There's, here I'm coming to get you, I'm attacking you. He fits exactly what we're all about. And so I just, like I said, this guy has to develop, he has to play. Curious to see how that plays out. And, if he's going to show that he's ready at some point this year. Obviously things are going to have to happen here to provide a spot, but definitely an exciting player.
Well, going off of that, so we've talked about guys that obviously had a chance to get here. You've got Wenzel, you got Smith, you've got Wynn, you got guys everyone's talking about. Tell me the guy nobody's talking about that may force you to say, we may have to take a look at this guy. Who's the guy no one talks about that might could force his way up here?
Well, I think that guy kind of revealed himself in camp. The guys like Joe McCarthy, we signed this guy and, he had a little big league time, but some of these guys, Chase Lee, maybe a guy that comes to mind, it's a unique look. He's obviously got zero fear when he's out there. He executes. It's that sidearm look. Guys like that are gonna force their way onto our roster at some point. We're gonna have needs. We're gonna have people go down. It's just baseball. It always happens that way, especially on the pitching side. Somebody like that comes to mind, and it's a Cody Bradford or somebody that's kind of dominating, and he's executing, he's pitching well, and he may be the guy we actually go with at some point. But those guys are, we have a ton of those guys. And when you got guys like Zach Rex and Joe McCarthy, maybe in your AAA team that, one of them's doing really well, and, Willie Calhoun goes down or something, with an injury, guess what? We got somebody that we can plug in there that fits who we are. We're not going to skip a beat, and it's going to be a great opportunity for whoever that is. But there's not going to be a decline really, in performance or even like their buy-in to what we're trying to do.
That's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
So the two guys to me who I think who not surprised, but who will be very good players from last year's team are Nathaniel Lowe and Taylor Hearn. I thought they had great springs, but those guys have to get better for this thing to work. That's part of it. We talk about the minor leagues and we talk about Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, but those guys who were on the team last year have to get better.
Yes, absolutely. And that was something that I addressed last year at the end of the year, to the team. I was really proud of the way they just kept competing last year. Clearly we didn't win. We lost 102 games, but at the same time, these guys kept developing, kept working. And I knew that coming into this year, that offseason last year, this offseason was critical for some of these guys to, whatever their need was to come into camp better. They needed to do that. And then a lot of guys did. But I did explain to the team, we have to level up. A lot of these younger players have to level up. And if they don't, there's going to be somebody that's going to take their place. And that's just, like I said earlier, just a second ago, when you have that kind of depth, if somebody fails or lack of performance and we're in a winning environment, we're going to have to replace them and go back, send them back down to get that final development that they need to be able to perform here consistently. But yes, Taylor Hearn, super excited about Taylor's development up to this point. But there's been a ton of growth. he's a grown man now, man. And you see him on that mound. He's confident. He's ready. He believes in himself. But now he has to go out and prove that. He has to be consistent. Same with Dane Dunning and all these guys that haven't really played out a 162 game season and had a ton of success yet.
Right.
That's what we need. We need Nate Lowe to figure some things out and improve from what he did last year. Because if he did what he did last year, we're going to look at that as a little bit of we need you to get better. Sure. Because we're looking at, okay, you're going to improve every year from here on out, at least for the first couple years. But nothing tells me that they won't. It's baseball, so you never know. But I'm really excited about Lowe and the work that he's put in over this offseason.
Sure. Let's get you out of here. And before we do, I gotta ask this. This has got to be fantastic for you. I was looking yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day. No, it's the day before, when you put a lineup together that kind of looked like your opening day lineup could very well be this lineup. Andy Ibanez was hitting ninth.
No doubt.
Look back to 2021. I mean, it's no offense against these guys last year. Look, this was a development year. You had a bunch of guys you were trying to get an assessment on. How unbelievably good do you feel knowing that Andy Ibanez, hitting as good as he can, you've always loved this guy, is ninth in your lineup right now, and looking at the top of that lineup, you've got to have a smile on your face when you're writing this lineup.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, listen, I don't want to get too, you guys know me, I'm super positive. I'm always optimistic about everything, but this is what we've always wanted. We've always wanted to have a chance to go into every single game we play with a chance to win a game. And now our expectation is to win that game. When you got Andy Ibanez, who I adore, and I know this guy can hit, and maybe he won't be hitting ninth after 2 weeks because he's going to kill it and force his way up higher. But that's the beauty. I mean, shoot, I think, Willie Calhoun's hitting eighth or potentially ninth. He might be hitting ninth tomorrow, or on opening day. So you look at that and you're like, Willie Calhoun hitting ninth? This guy was our best hitter 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Yeah. So it's a really good thing for us that we have that length throughout the lineup, because if I'm going to lead off Marcus Semien or even Brad Miller hitting in front of him, and we got those guys 1, 2, 3, 4, the top 4 or 5 guys are elite. The people behind them need to get on base so they can provide. So if our 8, 9 are actually getting on base at a high clip, and we have some damage at the bottom of the lineup, that's only going to help Marcus Semien, help Corey Seager, because there's actually guys on base. And that's just going to keep the train moving. And I couldn't be more excited, especially with the hitting coaches that we have and the buy-in that we've had on the offensive side to that game planning and the way they can make our players better. But like I said, we haven't done anything yet. We haven't even won a game yet. So I got to curb my enthusiasm and say, hey, we got to go out and prove this, guys, because there's still projections out there that have us finishing 4th and not winning 82 games, honestly. And so we got to go out and prove that. I love that we have a little chip on our shoulder with that.
Well, man, Chris, thanks so much for coming on. That's fantastic that you stopped down to talk to us. I know you got to go in. You got some more meetings today you've got to go to, getting ready. You got practice tomorrow. The fact you stopped down and talked to us, one thing, you can take the fifth on this question. We always see you wearing a pullover when you're on the bench. Be honest. Do you have your jersey on under that?
No way.
Okay, I had to ask. Chris, thanks so much. We'll see. I know you got a Zoom call coming up here in a little bit. Thanks for coming on. That's Chris Woodward from Toronto. Rangers start this week. Chris, good luck on the season, and we'll see you around the yard.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Woodrow. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, man. It was fun.
Where are you taking the crew? We're taking the crew to dinner tonight.
I think we're going to Barbarians Steakhouse.
Okay.
Dang, I need to be up there.
Sounds good.
It's been forever.
Hey, we'll see you when you get back in town.
All right,
yeah,
guys.
I'll see you Monday. I'll see you Friday, and then I'm coming home Saturday to do lighter. So I'll see you Friday. All right, man.
All right, take care.
I'll see you Monday.
Thanks, Chris.
See ya.